Well, when it comes to rock and roll, it's hard to imagine any band shrinking away from the prospect of global success. And yet, with that success, the work at hand becomes a job with a lot of responsibility. And often it's what happens after the big breakthrough that proves a band's mettle and separates pretenders from the real deal. Take Arctic Monkeys. The Britpop superstars hit hard with their first album, Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not. The infectious 2006 release became the fastest-selling debut album in British music history, went on to sell millions and win numerous awards, including the prestigious Mercury Prize, which is the UK version of our Polaris Prize for Album of the Year. The band's follow-up, Favorite Worst Nightmare, debuted at number 1 on the British charts in 2007. It earned the band another Mercury Prize nomination and effectively proved that Arctic Monkeys' initial success was no fluke. Now they've just released their latest record, Humbug, and while the album has once again hit number 1 on the UK charts, it's by no means a repeat of what came before. In many eyes, it represents a stronger, deeper direction for the Monkees. I'm pleased to have the band's vocalist, guitarist Alex Turner and bassist Nick O'Malley here with me in Studio Q. Hello, sirs.
Hello.
Nice to have you here.
Yeah, good to
Thanks
be
for
here.
making the
Thanks.
time. Alex, welcome back to Canada. I think you were here for the film festival, Alex? Is that true?
Yeah, I was here for a night a couple of weeks ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
my girlfriend was DJing.
You just came in for the night?
Just came up for the night. Yeah, in and out.
How was that?
Lovely.
Good. Well, we like having you here in Canada. Let me get into this record. I mean, Humbug has been considered by many a darker, meatier sounding record than it appears some would have expected. And much of the record was produced by Josh Homme, who also fronts Queens of the Stone Age. In some ways, it seems like an odd pairing. What inspired working with him?
Well, we've always been big fans of his, like ever since we started playing guitars, really. I think, and we were fortunate to meet him at festivals a couple of years ago, and we did a show together in Houston, and kind of, I suppose that's where like the relationship began, and then I think around that time we thought about asking him to go in the studio, perhaps, but. And then we sort of like forgot about it a little bit, and then the idea was remembered to us by Lawrence Bell, our label.
How did he react when you asked him? Was he a fan of yours? Did he know your stuff?
Yeah, he was. He was aware of us. Like I think he said some kind things in the press, I think.
I mean, he's kind of known as something of a guitar hero. And a songwriter in his own right. What was his approach with you in the studio?
Yeah, he's like a bit of an all-rounder as well. I mean, obviously, primarily his weapon is a guitar, but he's like a good drummer as well, and really good at like harmony and vocals, and he's just a big all-rounder. So, and obviously, he'd not done much production before, so it was a bit of an experiment, but it seemed to really work, and his all-round knowledge lent itself well, and he's got a really good ear for sounds and how to make things a little bit different, I suppose, from the normal way of doing things.
And so you end up recording this record at his home studio in Joshua Tree, California, which is long way from Sheffield.
Yeah,
Right.
We did some in it there, but that's actually this guy Dave Catching's studio.
Okay.
The place in the desert, and Josh has a place in Los Angeles, so we kind of did the most of the record between those two.
How did moving out of the environment of the UK and into California affect you musically, do you think? Or did it?
Yeah, certainly, I think it did. I think that whole experience with Josh really did, like, I think in order to do that in the first place, we had to approach it a little bit more openly than perhaps we had to those situations before. We were always like reluctant to let people in, like to our little group in the sort of early days. And as time's gone on, obviously, like naturally, you are more willing to like let.
How so? Like what led you to want to open up?
Oh, I don't know. Just I don't know.
He's quite a scary man, I think. So you
Yeah.
you don't really want to say no to him.
And we thought because he'd not, like, obviously he'd produced all his records before, and he's been in studios like a lot more than we have. But we weren't so sure whether he'd produced a band that he wasn't a member of. You know what I mean? So it was going to be like a different. It's kind of different process for everybody.
What do you make of this idea that this represents something bigger, the Americanization of Arctic Monkeys?
Yeah.
You're so identified as a British band, and now people compare this record. They're hearing Doors or they're hearing Queens of the Stone Age, even comparisons. And so this is somehow Americanizing you guys. You've grown your hair,
Yeah.
What do you have to say about all that?
I think almost because, like you just said, I think the band is kind of really considered a British band. I think, because of that first album and
Right.
the way my voice sounds, or like the accent it comes through. And so I think doing this, recording it in America and working with Josh and everything, it doesn't deviate. It doesn't take it away that much.
Do you care about Nick? Do you want to be representing as a British band? Is that something that's important to you, or is that something that's been projected onto you?
I think, like, obviously we're proud of where we're from and everything, but I don't think we want to be particularly seen as like the
Union
British
J.
band. Yeah, UJ. We've shortened it down, saves time. And
That was very helpful.
but
Thank you.
I think we just want to be considered a good band rather than a good band from a certain area. I guess just that location doesn't really concern it.
Have you gotten any backlash to that, Alex? I mean, you're recording in California, living in New York now. Does anybody consider like you're selling out your country somehow by not slogging it out somewhere in a
I'm sure there's
Sheffield Alley or something?
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are, Jan. Yeah,
I don't
wouldn't-
talk to him unless we're on British soil, and neither do the other two.
Right. I was born in London, so it's okay, then, right? I'm allowed to. I can speak with impunity to you guys. Your debut album achieved this really rare kind of impact, though inevitably there was critical grumblings of overhype. Everything has become Arctic Monkeys. And then the repeat success of your second album pretty much shut the naysayers down. Did you ever find that hype band designation to be something that was constricting or, if not annoying, between 1 and 2? Was that something that you guys ended up talking about?
I think that's why we did it so quickly, was because we really did like rush into that second album, and like obviously we just got Nick in the band at that point, and we all really wanted to make an album together, and it's like, there was a definite desire to like shed a skin at that point and like try and move on.
Does it make album 3 easier because you're not following up this massive debut?
Yeah,
And so you're just now you're a band. Now
And
you're
then
not
it
the
was
band that
more-
just had the big debut.
Yeah, and you could just like, and as a result of that, you did spend a lot longer on this album, and like there wasn't that kind of feeling of we'd try things and we'd have like a few weeks writing more songs and we'd record them, whereas there wasn't like this urgency, like, I suppose.
How much is that massive success something that you guys actually talk about in the band, or how important is it to you? I mean, some critics, this is a critically acclaimed record, but some have said, well, there's not a lot of catchy songs on it. It doesn't have hit singles in the way that the others necessarily did. Is that something you care about? Do you want hit singles?
This is the first time there's a sense of like satisfaction having completed this album that I don't think we've achieved before. I think it's just like you'd always kind of quickly have niggles about the other records, whereas with this one, I don't know, it just feels, you just feel more satisfied with it. I suppose it's like, and maybe it's because you've been playing a little bit longer and you've heard more records, and so it's you can, I suppose, like master your ideas a bit more, like making breakfasts now as opposed to playing pinball.
Oh, I thought we were making breakfast as opposed to just eating a scone. No, I thought you were going to run with the breakfast
No,
metaphor.
no, no. No. It's more like making You know what you want to
Instead of
have.
pinball.
Instead
He
of
likes
playing
to mix
pinball.
metaphors.
Right. Well, I appreciate it. My head is spinning, but I got it. I think I got it.
You get it.
But I mean, this is an interesting thing for you to say, Alex, because I can't think of a band necessarily that's more represented doing their own thing or wanting to do their own thing. You know, you're fiercely independent when you put out the first record. You're still on Domino, and so the idea that one would have is that you've always been happy with what you've made because it's felt like you guys that wouldn't necessarily be more satisfying somehow.
Yeah, but I don't know. But we have obviously we've always done what we wanted to do, and the label's been very good with us in that kind of department. But yeah, I don't know. More just like I'm happy with the tunes on this record. I just think like the songs are better and the sounds are better. And it's just
Let me ask you about the lyrics because you know this. You're called one of the finest lyricists. I mean, some people say of your generation. You know, and early on, you wrote about your own experiences and the people and places you knew, and it was something fans related to. Stardom can have a way of changing perspectives. How has the way you live and work impacted the way you write your lyrics now?
to be honest, it still feels like the same really as it always has. Like in terms of me writing, I probably do it like more now than I used to do. Like I probably write more like frequently, and I think that's just. In the beginning, I was always a bit uncomfortable with the idea of like being like a songwriter. I don't know, that like term used to give me a little shudder. Like I felt like I'd be I don't know. It reminds me of like the idea of being a songwriter used to be like freaking out, like because
Because of the weight of that?
no, just because I don't know. It reminded me of like the kid in sixth form or whatever that had a rock bag. And like,
Right.
and I don't know.
Yeah, that's funny. You don't think of Lennon McCartney. You think of
Yeah,
the-
you know what I mean. Because but then, like as time, as time goes on, you realise it can be. It's all right,
But
it
do
ain't
you,
no thing.
do you almost have to go out of your way? I mean, it's not a weird question, but to put yourself in the mindset of an ordinary guy to be able to still write lyrics from that perspective?
No,
If
because
you-
I don't. Yeah, I think in terms of like that, I feel like that first album, kind of, for me anyway, like encapsulates all that stuff from that world that like, and it was tied up neatly, and like I feel like that was done then almost, and then it was just after that it's
It's a job. It's a good job.
yeah, just no, I mean just like there was other things to write about. I think I remember when it like kind of discovered when I started kind of writing in that style, I suppose, or about what was going on like in our lives at that time. And I remember a time, when I had like 2 or 3 songs in that vein, and it was like, well, if we made this another, if it was 5 or 6 or 7 songs, then that's you're almost got an album, and that could completely, that's just you could put a fork in that thing, because by no means did that I or we didn't invent that kind of approach.
Right,
People
right.
were doing that even at the same time as we were.
You don't necessarily want to descend into the band who writing about how hard it is on tour
exactly
and the hotel,
'Cause
the inside of hotel rooms.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's been done many times. It can be done again
Exactly.
by you, but it's
Yeah,
it's not the most creative approach.
There was never any. I think we probably had like joke tunes that were like.
But the implications of that time, though, that massive success of the debut record. I mean, I guess one of the casualties was your first bassist, Andy Nicholson, and Nick. What was it like for you, walking into a situation, into this band that had, catapulted to massive stardom on a debut record?
Obviously, like very enjoyable comparing to what I was doing before. But yeah, because like I knew everyone before, and since I was a little kid, it kind of felt not as nerve-wracking as it would have been, say, if it were joining with a band that I that were people that I didn't know. So I felt very comfortable and very welcomed, and just really enjoyed it and felt settled.
Oh, that's a very even keel answer. So it didn't. I mean, your life would have changed overnight. But I guess the fact that you're saying you knew these guys
Yeah,
meant it didn't feel that like that.
yeah. It never felt like such a big pressure thing because they were always. They're so nice guys. They're just very supportive, and they weren't like, you better play all these correctly, otherwise we're gonna find someone else or anything like that. It was just like, just come and play with us and see if see how it works. And obviously, like knowing them, we just had a great time and just seemed to slot in nicely.
Alex, the trappings of that massive success so quickly, does it? I mean, you seem to have come through it, at least musically, you're solid. But was there a feeling that you could have lost yourself to it, or a desire to lose yourself in it?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really remember, to be honest.
So you did lose yourself. It's a blur. It's become impossible to remember.
I don't know. Yeah, it was just like, I think it was just. It's always been about like what the next thing would be for us, like next record or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's always. I don't. Yeah, I don't know what the alternative would have been. Like, yeah, self-destruction.
Well, thankfully, self-destruction does not seem to
No.
have happened. The other interesting thing about your evolution, that this came as a surprise to me, because at the time that you guys broke out and that record was storming around England and becoming the favorite of all kinds of music critics, and people like myself who wanted to consume anything that comes out of the UK as quickly as it does, and the story was that this was a MySpace band. You guys are broken based on MySpace, and so you had this idea of you guys sitting there in front of computers, sort of, setting up your website and getting the music out there. I was surprised to hear soon after that, and now doing the research on you, that wasn't actually something that you created. That was something that happened in and around you. This internet band idea. Can you tell me what happened with that?
Well, we were just we had made demos like pretty after about like a year of playing together. We'd like made demos and we'd Matt, our drummer, would do a little artwork for it, and we'd give them away when we were playing around. And then there's a gentleman that stepped up and was kind enough to drive us out of town to play shows, like, and he got us to do another demo and stuff like that. And we'd always give the disc away or whatever at the show. And then some kids got hold of it and kind of put it on a website or a bit of MySpace or something, I think, as well. But it was really, to us, we were like just going around playing, and all it meant was the next time we went up to Newcastle or whatever, there'd be like a couple more people there than there was the last time, and they'd know some of these tunes that we were playing.
So did it come as a surprise to you that you were a MySpace success story?
Yeah.
Which is right, okay.
Yeah, I've never had a MySpace in my life.
What you still don't? You're not.
No.
You don't actually.
You guys on MySpace? No, I don't. I don't have fun. No.
What about? I mean, the internet in general. What would you say your relationship is with it now? What do you think of it in
Purely
terms of
X-rated, personally. Yeah.
just porn?
Yeah.
Right. That's what it's good for, and that's. Do you think it's been?
I tried to download Richard Hawley's new album the other day because there weren't a record shop around wherever we were in Denver or something, and it got 3 songs in, and then it cut me off.
Oh, unreliable.
You need a better computer.
I think I do. I think I need a Genius bar to sort me out.
Yeah, you have a Mac Genius.
I need a Genius.
The outfit, yeah, he can fix you up. Do you still feel like you just running with this idea that you were called a MySpace band, and the conceptions or misconceptions around the band. I mean, when you get to a level that you're at, do you actually feel like you have control over what of the marketing of what people think Arctic Monkeys are?
I mean, I think you just have to, because even in like when the only thing you can kind of completely be in control of is like what's on the record, you know what I mean, and what you're gonna play in your set. And I don't know what shoes you've got on, but I mean, like, it's not how long your hair is, no. but like even like being interviewed for a magazine or whatever can always get like
Misconstrued.
span and like,
Yeah.
you know, you kind of misquoted and whatever. But I mean, I think there's no point like worrying about it really. It's more just like, well, concentrate on the thing you can control. And
You
try
don't
and
care.
make that.
You don't care what people say about. I mean, if they get it wrong. that
I
is.
mean,
Yeah, you don't.
yeah,
wanna
you
be,
know, and you do hear misinterpretations and stuff, and it's like,
What's the
it's
greatest
such a-
misconception about Arctic Monkeys?
I'm hoping that this X-rated comment that I just made that gets spun, and then it's like Nick O'Malley, porn addict, and it's me and David Duchovny, and we're both in rehab together.
Right. You're hoping for that.
Well,
Oh, is
I
he- is
just
he
want to
into
meet
porn?
Dave. Oh, he's a sex addict. Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Well, was. I don't know. Can you not ever not
I
be
dunno.
if you are? I don't know.
How do you find out?
Recovering.
The truth
He's in
is out
recovery.
The
Yeah.
truth is out there.
there. Well, what was that?
The greatest misconception.
I don't know. There's a cracker about that tune, My Propeller, on the new album.
Yeah.
Like that there's some sort of that it's some kind of.
Phallic undertow.
That's about
Yeah,
your.
it's a
your
euphemism,
it's not
yeah.
about your private member.
No, that's describing a mood. I assure you, not an organ. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting because, in fact, there was a review in The Guardian that went on
Yeah,
about it.
everything. Yeah, everything's like. I was like, wow, really? And I was like, I was like looking at the lyrics, thinking, what? Yeah, I don't know, but it's quite funny, I suppose.
I want to ask
But yeah, I wouldn't be so.
you wouldn't be so
Salacious.
overt about your
Yeah,
about your private.
vulgar. Yeah, people have got that sewn up.
I once
That's
read somewhere that I was born in Germany.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from. But
That seems like an odd one.
Yeah.
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 It's like Obama. Some people claim that you weren't born in the country you say you were. Yeah. So this I wanted to get to because I thought it was really refreshing. Back in 2007, you guys declined to play the Live Earth concerts, and you said at the time that it would be patronizing, given your ages, and that people should pay more attention to experts rather than musicians. I think that's refreshing in the sense that very few people have the kind of candor to say that or confess, if you will, that they don't believe they know enough about the issue to be representing. Do you think that people put too much weight into what rock stars have to say about non-musical issues?
I think they should listen more to Al Gore. And maybe Al Gore should make an album. And maybe that could be the way this could work. And then things would get solved. But
There you go. It's the other way.
it should come the other way around. Like, people that know about these issues
Should
get
become
into
the rock
music.
stars.
Yeah, they should get on a career.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if I want to hear Al Gore's record.
I don't know. I think he's got a bit of.
Be like
I
Can.
think he's got a bit of jazz in him.
Be like
yeah.
Can.
Like,
A bit of, but really, I mean, do you think that some celebrities or musicians cross the line? I mean, that's quite a statement to make, to say we're not going to do this because we don't feel like we're qualified somehow.
yeah. I think it'd be the fear of someone coming up and asking you about it, and then just being like, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Hybrid turbos.
Well, that's a good start.
There you go. Yeah. Well,
You could always
those, yeah.
defer to Al Gore.
Get a
Just
big-
say,
yeah.
speak to Al Gore, please.
You can open an act.
You're a popular band in North America, but not at the crazy levels you've achieved back home. Do you still want to conquer America? Is that a priority, or or a myth that the British band puts a lot of weight in whether they can conquer America, take over America?
I mean, I always say this, but we've always enjoyed coming and playing and like the size of the places that we play over here is like adequate.
Feels good.
Yeah.
You don't have to be, I mean, Coldplay, you know, and you two who have declared that we are the best band in the world, or we want to be. That's not something that.
The biggest band, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to be Coldplay, you two. Really.
There's your quote.
But you knew that anyway.
Well, I knew that. I didn't mean do you want to be Coldplay, although that's kind of funny that you spoke to it. I just meant how I guess it's another way of asking how important, you know, what's the ambition of the band, right? Like, do you guys
Yeah.
we want to, you know, do you want to take over the world?
Yeah, I've not got to that yet. I don't think.
It's good having you guys here.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for
Nice
making the
one,
time.
Jan.
Appreciate having you.
Thank you.
Alex Turner and Nick O'Malley.
Yeah.
I'm just looking and searching for your last name. Alex and Nick from the Arctic Monkeys have been here. Their new album is entitled Humbug, and it's available from Domino.